Hi, everybody. I'm Mandy. Welcome. I'm really excited to have a very special guest here. Her name is Athena, and I'm very grateful for her to be here. So, if you're around, if you're watching at any time, I really would love for you to have no distractions as we come forward here and hear some really deep wisdom, especially right now with many things that are going on around the world. This is going to be a great time to just receive this wisdom, and I'm so thankful. Athena, you can go ahead and introduce yourself and go for it.
Well, hi, I'm Athena. First, I just really want to thank Mandy again for having me and trusting me in her space. It means a lot. I'm a somatic practitioner. I'm a yoga instructor, yoga teacher, and my focus has been on helping people healed from trauma, but also decolonizing the spaces and especially dismantling my own internalized racism, internalized white supremacy, because that's really the biggest part of spiritual and healing work for everybody. So that is a little bit about me. If you guys see me looking at my notes, it's just because I get nervous when speaking in front of people. So it's like, and I have horrid ADHD, so I veer off topic. So I have like cheat sheet notes. So when I veer off, I remember I'm here and I'm not telling a story about fish, you know?
Yeah, I do that too. So you're totally fine.
Good. So I'm really honored that I've been chosen to be here with you guys. This space is not about perfection. It's about being present. It's about showing up with a willingness to look inwards, to look at ourselves, and to hold a lot of complexities and nuances, and just to really feel what is coming up, and especially to feel it when it's uncomfortable, because discomfort is the edge of growth. So what I'd really like to do is just begin and just let ourselves arrive in our bodies for a moment. So just take a moment, and if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes down, but you don't have to. Just feel your feet on the floor, maybe press them into the ground, or if you're sitting crisscross applesauce or in a chair, just really feel your sitting bones, what they're connected to. Let your shoulders drop down away from your ears. Maybe take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. If you feel like letting out a sigh as you exhale, just really let your body do what it needs to do. Place a hand on your heart if you wish, or on your belly. Feel the warmth from your hands. And I'm actually going to open with a few deep questions, and you don't need to answer them out loud, of course. But as you're answering them internally, just try to let them land inside of your body and just notice what arises, what happens. The first question that I have is, what does it mean to be white in a society built on white supremacy? Now, obviously, as I'm white, I do speak more to white people. But you can make this for whoever you are, you know. But what does it mean to be white or to live in a society built on white supremacy? My second question is, where did I first learn what it means to be good or innocent? And how might that have shaped my internalized whiteness, or shaped by whiteness? And remember, whiteness is not the color of our skin. Whiteness is the system itself. So when you first learned what it meant to be good or innocent, how did that shape your view of society? And the third question is, when I have felt discomfort about race and turned away, and what was happening in my body at that moment. So maybe you're having a conversation and race came up and you felt uncomfortable, so you turned away. What happened inside your body at that moment? If you can think back to a time. All right, my last question is, what stories did my ancestors have to believe or bury to survive within whiteness? Notice how that lands in your body. What stories did my ancestors have to believe or bury to survive within whiteness? Go ahead and take a breath in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Come back and feel your feet or your sitting bones on the ground or chair again. Maybe try pressing them in. Just let whatever be here is here. We're not rushing towards our answers. We're actually going to continue just staying with these questions. If your body wants to move, you can go ahead and invite some little micro movements in. Keep breathing. So we're going to move into what is internalized racism. And again, because I'm white, I can really only speak to my own experience. So specifically, what is this for white people? I know that I grew up in a family that was very religious, and their religion is pretty racist. And I also grew up with a family that, was like, I don't see color. And I was taught that even just saying the words like black or brown when referring to someone's ethnicity, of course, was like really, really bad. Like, you can't say that. And you don't see color anywhere. And as I always felt kind of weird about it, but then as I grew up and I really started looking at society, I was like, this place is a mess. Like, what is this? And dismantling it, I realized I see color everywhere. Even if, it's not loud, because that's the thing with internalized racism, is that it's not always loud. It's not always covert or overt. It's a lot of times it's just like a little whisper. It's when a strong Black or brown woman is standing up for themselves or just speaking in general, it's that little thought inside your head like, wow, they're really loud. They're really aggressive. They need to tone it down. It's not feeling safe in certain neighborhoods for literally no reason. And the reason is because it's predominantly BIPOC community. It's when you're walking down the street and you see, you have people coming towards you and you hurry and grab your purse. But why? because there's a Black or brown person coming at you. We're taught that they're dangerous. We're taught that the crime rate goes up because of them, even though that's completely untrue. But this is how we internalize it. And these shifts that we have happen are like instantaneous. And to really dismantle that, you have to be on top of it, and you have to notice it out when you're out and about and be like, hey, where did that thought originate from? Is it mine, or is this white supremacy coming in? Is this my internalized racism coming in? It's the ways that whiteness conditions white people to center ourselves. Like I said, I'm a yoga teacher. And, when you think of yoga, what do you think of? You think of us white, blonde, skinny girls listening to weird music and refusing to chant mantra, right? We're the faces of yoga, but yoga didn't originate here. It's also breath work. I'm sorry, breath work didn't originate here in the West. It's filled with indigenous and African and yogic practices. But here we are assuming that we are the authority because we've been taught to hoard knowledge and wisdom as if it was our own when it had nothing to do with us. This knowledge wasn't built to center us. I can guarantee that the ancient sages weren't thinking, who would really be good at teaching this practice? Yeah, the white Europeans. Let's give it to them. That's not what happened. Internalized racism is often unconscious in the superiority of white perspectives, emotions, experiences. We're considered the norm. Oftentimes it's enforced for people in the workforce to have their hair straight, to look as white as possible. Internalized white supremacy isn't just about overt beliefs, it's also in the subtle. We tend to take up more space in conversations. We have a lot more audacity. It's also that need to be seen as a good white person or even woke. And internalized racism has even embedded itself inside of our nervous systems, which is why when the topic comes up, we either completely dissociate and shut down when we're being called out, or, you cry and it's weaponized crying. It's not you're crying because you feel empathy or you feel bad for doing something. You're crying because then you want them to comfort you, even though you just said something racist, right? Internalized racism is also expecting Black, Indigenous, or people of color to educate and like I said, comfort you, but also to educate you. And of course, for free, right? And they shouldn't have to. There's a million books. Just Google them. You can buy them. There's so many. White supremacy, it doesn't just live inside of our thoughts. It literally lives inside of our nervous systems. And a lot of your trauma responses come from white supremacy. If you grew up in a white dominant culture, your body learned very early on that safety meant conformity, it meant control, it meant to live in proximity to whiteness, it meant to stick close to white men so that you can have a better life and to see everybody else as your competition. It meant emotional detachment from very real pain. You're just being hysterical, you're being ridiculous, you're being overly sensitive. So now when we're asked to confront racism, our nervous systems usually go into a freeze, I don't know what to say. I'm going to shut down. I don't know how to handle this. Or we go into fawn, which means more like, let me prove to you that I'm one of the good ones. Or we go into fight, where we get really defensive and argumentative, or just that white fragility. And it's defending your intentions of what you meant, but really what you meant to say was racist. You just it may be unconscious. Or you go into flight, which would be just completely leaving the conversation, numbing out, or changing the subject completely. And all of these are protective responses that we inherited from white supremacy. So it's our job to catch it in the act. Just like if you were to heal from any other trauma or wounding, you have to also catch yourself in your internalized racism when it's happening and choose differently. Also, with the fawn response, the let me prove that I'm one of the good ones, I have to say, I say this a lot. We don't get to decide that we are a safe white person. They get to decide that. We don't get to decide that. It's just the same thing when we say that men don't get to decide that they're a safe man. We decide that. It's the same exact logic. I kind of wanted to invite in an ancestral layer now, because healing internalized white supremacy, it's not just personal, it's also ancestral. Many, I mean, maybe not all, but most of our white ancestors had to completely cut off parts of themselves to gain proximity to power, to assimilate and to be accepted into whiteness. But what did that do? We were also taught white violence. We were taught to harm anybody else that didn't look like us. Our ancestors were extremely violent, and a lot of us still are. It may not be in the ways as horribly as it was in the past, but it's still really bad. And the system that we are all stuck inside of re-traumatizes them every single day of their life. Literally every single day. So it is our job. Racism is a white person problem. It's our thing to deal with. We created the fucking problem. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear. Okay. I'm just trying so hard not to swear. But our ancestors created it. We uphold it. We have to dismantle it. Okay. We cannot keep expecting them to do it for us. I mean, just look at some of the other ways that the BIPOC community were harmed. They had to forget their language. They were not allowed to practice the practices that apparently everybody can practice now. That's a whole other thing. A lot of them are closed practices, and you see white people completely taking over, and that's not okay, because not every space is meant for us. We have other ones in our ancestry that we can go to. But they weren't allowed. I mean, look at the boarding schools. They were genocided. This is the legacy of our ancestors. And it didn't just harm them. It harmed white people as well. It hardened us. I've noticed that a lot of white people, they'll call it the witch wound, but we don't know how to build community because everybody's our competition. We don't know what mutual aid is. I mean, mutual aid is literally like, have you ever gone to your friend's house for dinner? There you go, mutual aid. But we don't know that because we're so used to having to do everything on our own. It's made us hyper vigilant and it's made us hyper independent. So part of this work, I just want to remind everybody, it's not about shame. It's about grief. Because none of us have been allowed to grieve at all. We have not been allowed to feel the fear. We have not been allowed to feel the grief. And we have not been allowed to reclaim the parts of our humanity that were buried to maintain all of this whiteness. And this goes for everybody. So, you might want to ask, what did my ancestors have to give up to be seen as white? And this goes for everybody. I know, again, because I teach yoga and I've been learning a lot about India, I know that the racism there is so bad that, everybody wants to look. If you look the most Western, if you dress the most Western, if you lighten your skin the most and you look the most white, then you're considered higher class. So what did my ancestors have to give up to be seen as white? I mean, pretty much everything. What wisdom was lost in the bargain? I mean, I told you I'm a somatic practitioner. Do you guys know what that is? Because it's literally just yoga and African and indigenous knowledge. That's all it is. But they just rebranded it. And this happens with everything. What healing could happen if I chose to tell the truth, to remember? That's one of my favorite questions. What healing could happen if I chose to tell the truth and I chose to remember? I believe that our ancestors, the ones beyond the harm, they want us to be well. They don't want us to wallow in grief, but they do want us to tell the truth. They want us to repair the damage, and they want us to return to living in right relationship. This goes to living in right relationship with each other, with ourselves, with the earth, with our ancestors, with everyone. And that begins at repair. But we have to repair all of the damage that's been done. I mean, I truly don't believe that collective healing is going to take place until land is given back. We haven't been good stewards of it at all. I've been doing a lot of practicing connecting to the land, and I mean, there's a lot of grief there as well. Anyways, sorry. I get so nervous.
That is like so deep and heavy. I feel like there could possibly be people who may push that away because it is very, very heavy. But if there is someone out there that is asking the question, like, how could I repair? What would be something that you could share?
Well, I think first of all, we need to really work on our own mindset and our own nervous systems, because if the internalized racism is still, literally in charge, is driving the bus, then when we have the opportunity to repair, when we have the opportunity to put someone in their place, when we have the opportunity to give reparations, we have the opportunity to give back, we're not going to do it. You know what I mean? So a lot of this begins with your own nervous system, and unlearning literally everything, because white supremacy and internalized racism is in every little thing. And once you start dismantling that, you won't see life the other way. I promise you. I mean, obviously you already know that. You're going to see it everywhere. And, I want everybody to get to a space where they are able to be like, wow, okay, I'm feeling really activated by this topic, but it's really important. So instead, I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to breathe through it. And then I am going to make the best course of action and what I can do to help. I really do believe that it's important to read books. There's a million books out there for decolonizing. There's a million. It's really important, go get some and read them and do a lot of self-inquiry. I do want to do a somatic sequence because, like we said, this is really heavy stuff. I wanted to dive in really deep, and I know that it's really difficult because our nervous systems do want to shut down. We do want to push it away. We don't want to be in that uncomfortable space. That's no fun. That's terrible, because you feel crappy.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I wanted to just share something really fast, because coming from someone who is, not white, obviously, yeah. I myself started going through a decolonizing process that was very deep, because I didn't realize how much colonization had affected my ancestors and myself in deeper ways, like in the mind, right? Like some of the questions that you asked at the beginning, I kind of wrote down answers for that. And it's like one of the books that really opened my eyes and is still opening my eyes because I'm still reading it is Decolonizing Therapy.
That's a really good one.
Oh my gosh. Like, it really just shows the work on the mind, like some of the like simple things. It's not like big and like bad things. It's like very simple things that you think about, or the way that you perceive things as, a brown person. I was like, this is crazy. Like, because you think it's natural. It's not natural. It came from colonization. It came from it being passed down, like exactly like what you're saying. And we took it upon ourselves because it was one of the ways that I feel like our ancestors were able to hide it, was to just wear it, to wear whatever needed to be worn, right? Like not just physically, but you know what I mean? Like through
Yes.
in the mind and the way that you perceive things and the way you respond it. And I feel like, historically there was a lot of, right, like they fought like, no, this isn't right. But
Yeah.
then if you notice, it's almost as if time goes by and it's more of like complacency, and it's more of like it's almost like we're not going to win anyways, and it's like we kind of just wore what we needed to wear and hide underneath that. And it's really sad because now we're at a generation where thankfully we're speaking up. But when I started noticing how much it was affecting me and the way that I was thinking and perceiving things, oh my gosh.
Yes. Well, and on that topic of like, how it really does seem like, they were like, wow, we're never going to win this fight. And now that we are speaking out, I even have those conversations with people and they're like, well, nothing's ever going to change. So why are you bothering? Like, why am I bothering? Are you kidding me? Why would you not bother still? It's like change has to happen. This isn't okay. This is abuse. That's how I always explain it, is that this is abuse for everybody, but obviously, especially for Black and brown people, it's abuse completely. And it's psychological warfare, and it's got to stop, And it drives me nuts to see in like, especially like as we work was in spirituality, just you see it all the time. Their nervous system's completely shut down. Oh, I'm above the fear in the collective, so I don't need to be a part of that conversation. I just see things from a higher dimension. I see it from the 11D, and you're seeing things still from the 3D. And I'm like, that hierarchy mentality, babe, that's white supremacy. That's internalized racism. It's right there. It's right in front of you. It is always there. You will always find it. It is sneaky. It is loud. It's everything. So I just want to do a little, okay. I want us to be able to feel uncomfortable. Okay. Because it's important. And I even have a little somatic sequence to help you through the uncomfort. But this discomfort, it is so good for you. So let me see. I'm going to find those questions. I want you guys to just think of one of these questions that I asked in the beginning. What does it mean to live in a society that is built on white supremacy? That's the first question. And just choose one of them. But we're gonna work through these feelings that come up somatically, okay? So you can choose, what does it mean to live in a society built on white supremacy? The second one was, where did I first learn what it means to be good or innocent, and how might that be shaped by whiteness? 3, when have I felt discomfort about race and turned away? And what was happening in my body at that moment? Or 4, what stories did my ancestors have to believe or bury to survive within whiteness? Do you want me to read them one more time? Or do you think everybody's got one? Hopefully. I'll read them one more time.
Okay.
Just in case. Okay. So choose one of these 4 questions. The first one, and just repeat it in your head when you have it so that you don't forget it, because I don't have it written down. What does it mean to be white, or just to live in a society built on white supremacy? Number 2, where did I first learn what it means to be good or innocent, and how might that be shaped by whiteness? 3, when have I felt discomfort about race and turned away? And what was happening in my body at that moment? And number 4, what stories did my ancestors have to believe or bury to survive within whiteness. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, we're just going to close with this somatic, well, not close, but do a somatic sequence to support us while staying present with our discomfort. Especially if you're feeling guilt, shame, or maybe even remorse that might arise from facing this internalized racism. So just, if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes, but you really don't have to. If you want to leave them open, please leave them open, okay? And just think back to that question that really stuck with you and repeat it in your mind. As you repeat this question, try to notice any sensations that might be happening in your body. Maybe you feel a constriction in your chest, or like it has rubber bands around your belly. Maybe you feel buzzing or tingling, or your limbs feel really heavy. And if you feel nothing at all, that's also completely valid. Just notice what it feels like to feel nothing. Is nothing expansive? Is it contractive? Does it feel like jelly? Does it have a texture or a shape? Now, if this sensation, just answer these questions in your head, and it's just going to be the first answer that comes to your mind. If this sensation had a color, what color would it be? And imagine that color where that sensation is. If this sensation had a shape, what shape would it be? Imagine that colorful shape. If this sensation had a texture, what texture would it be? And imagine that texture. If the sensation had a sound, what sound would it be? If this sensation had a scent, what smell would it be? Now, ask yourself, ask your body what your body needs right now. Does it need to move a bit? You can invite in some micro movements. You could sway. Do you need to tap? You can use your fingertips and tap. Do you need to breathe? Ask your body what it's needing to support you right now. You can even give yourself a hug. You can massage your arms. Just allow yourself, your body, to tell you what it's needing right now. Go ahead and place one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. Just feel that warmth. Maybe even massage your chest or your belly if you'd like. Feel the warmth from your hands, the pressure. You want to make sure that you're putting pressure. The pressure is what's going to help you feel safe. Breathe slowly. I'm going to breathe in for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue breathing. And we're going to imagine expanding our awareness to include both the discomfort that we're feeling, but also something steady. So feel that discomfort, but maybe also feel the pressure from your hands, or push your feet into the floor. Or maybe you'd like to focus on your breath moving in and out of your nose. Maybe focus on your spine and how it feels inside your body. Just notice, can your body hold both the pain, the grief, remorse, and the support? Just push into the ground, hold your body, continue breathing. Just don't try to fix it. Just notice it all. Just go ahead, and if your eyes aren't open, you can begin to blink them open. And we're going to just let your eyes move around your room. Find something in your room that either feels like soothing or very grounding or neutral. It could be a plant, a color, a texture. Just go ahead and let yourself just look at that. Gaze at it for a little bit. Go ahead, when you're ready, place your hand, either one hand or both, on your heart. And just either whisper to yourself, you can say it out loud, or say it mentally to yourself. It's okay to feel this. It's okay to feel this. This is what healing feels like. I can stay with this. I am not alone. We are all here with you. Your ancestors are here with you. Everyone in this group is actually here with you. I am here with you. Taking a deep breath in through your nose. When you exhale, maybe let out a sigh. If you need, or if you'd like, feel the pressure from your hands. You can even put them in front of your palm to palm and just press your hands into each other. Feel that pressure. You can rub them, bring some heat into your body, to your hands. Feel that heat getting generated. Feel the rubbing sensation. Now take the palms of your hands and put them a little bit over your eyes. Feel the warmth from your hands. Anything else that your body may be needing, just as you swing, just rub your arms, anything that you need. Keep breathing. That was really deep. thank you for your presence and your willingness. This is a very, very great way to help you begin to find safety in dismantling your own internalized racism and white supremacy. This building of safety and connection will help you work through and process it and retrain your nervous system so that you, when faced with it, you are able to actually stay present with it, which is what we really need. We really just need your presence. This is lifelong work. It is not linear, and it does ask us to keep returning, to return to your bodies, return to the truth, and return to each other. If you feel activated after this, please to yourself, drink water. As you drink it, you can consciously swallow it, feel the water going down. You can be in nature, talk to your friend who can, both hold you accountable, but also hold you in care and love and support. I do have a final reflection, and if you guys have a journal or if you can put it in your phone or something, I do think that it's a really great thing to think about. So my question for you is, what becomes possible when I stop performing innocence and start embodying responsibility? What becomes possible when I stop performing innocence and start embodying responsibility? May your body be a site of reckoning, reclaiming, and repair.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry to end a little early. Right?
No, that's okay. I'm like, it's so, I feel like this message just could be literally just showcased like out there. Like this is something, especially coming from because we live in a world when we live in a society where is color, right? We see somebody, we're instantly going to see their color.
Yep.
And that's going to do something to the mind, especially depending on where we're at in our decolonizing journeys, or if we're just in our trauma living life, like you're automatically going to perceive it from that point of view. I mean, even though you don't really want to, like, I think it's just made to be like that. So we've lived generations enough to respond in that way. But I feel like your message and what you shared, it's not your message, right? It's the message that actually comes from when you research and study and learn for yourself where a lot of our deep, like our messages, our mindsets, our stories of our ancestors, like that's where this message is coming from. It's not, you know what I mean? Like it's deeply embedded, and you would think that it's something that is like more knowledgeable, but it's really not.
No. Well, and that's how they want it to be. That's how the system continuously stays in place and harms people, is because they don't want you to find the truth. They don't want you to know about it. And I also think it's so funny how, I work with healing in the healing ways, and how many healers and coaches I hear say, you got to find the root. I'm like, the root is white supremacy. The root is colonialism. The root is racism. That is the root. Like, you want to know why you're not able to change your subconscious patterns? Well, babe, it's because it's white supremacy. You're looking in the wrong place. You have to decolonize it, and not just from your mind, but your nervous system, your body. Everything has to get purged, even like your energetic system. Literally every facet of our being has to get purged from it. It's really important. But like until that happens, like you're going to continue in with those same cycles, those same loops, repetition over and over and over again, because the root is white supremacy.
It's crazy because I've never shared this part, and I know this is going into like a little bit more spiritual, like people might see this as weird, but I feel like it would be really nicely shared right here to end this. Is I did a healing once on land, and it was a land healing, and the land guardians had called me to bring healing to that land, which was my native homeland. And I actually shared a little bit of that in the land healing workshop that I did like a couple weeks ago, but I didn't share this part. So this part literally goes with kind of what you're saying, your message about like decolonization. When I spoke to these land guardians, they told me that they were angry. They were very angry because of what the white man had come into their land and did to them, and had brought like a slaughter, and had it was very violent. And as they're speaking to me, and they're channeling this information to me, and they're letting me know like we're really angry. They specifically said like we're angry at the white man. That's what they called it. And as I'm listening to this, it just really made a lot of sense, because it showed like the land was still feeling this grief and this pain, and it wasn't like something like, oh, get over it already, like you like whatever it. No, like they were really, these ancestors on that land were still angry about that. And as we had this conversation, and we came to a realization of a lot of things, but we came to a realization that that karma works. Like it's just the law of the land, and things will have to happen to kind of purge and clear that.
Yes.
But that was just the part where they really told me like they were really angry at the white man because of what they had did. But one thing that they said was, they told me that as they had been slaughtered, and their ancestors later, generations later, were very angry at the way that like capitalism had happened in the land, and that was not a part of who they were, or how the way they traded. They didn't use that. Mm-hmm. And so they had made a vow that they would not use the ways of the white man, which was capitalism, which was money.
Yeah.
And so they ended up hating money, because they seen money as what had not slaughtered them, but what had been an intention of like, give me this land, like this is mine, like, and it was all, and so it was like, to them, they seen it as like, oh, this is the white man's way, is greed. Yes. is give me. Mm-hmm. And they really despised that. And they told me that's why a lot of their ancestors to this day were in poverty. It wasn't because that's just like they said it was because they had this hate of, no, we don't want to have too much money, because then it is the way of the white man, and it is greed, and we don't want any part of that. So I was able to just bring healing to the fact that like, to release that blockage. And even they like, it was in my blood.
Yeah.
Of this like, no, like I don't want too much money, because that would be serving like what those that came from what they did to us, and like capitalism and stuff. And it was just an eye opener. It really made a lot of sense. And so exactly what you say is like the root of the problem. Like I had spent money and years trying to heal my money blockages and clear, you know what I mean?
Oh, me too. Oh, I feel that. Oh.
And it was in
$1,000 session. Stupid.
Oh, I know. And I didn't know then, right? So I was actually, that's colonization, like mindset of like, give me, take, and heal this money blockage so I can make 20 grand off the backs of other people. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, And like, it wasn't until I had that conversation with these land guardians that said, like, they spoke to me, and I was like, that's the root. Like, my root is like, it was this anger, which is acceptable.
Be valid.
This
Yeah,
this rage of like, I don't
absolutely.
want the ways of the white man. I don't want their ways. I don't want to trade in the way they do it. Like, we were fine before they came, kind of thing. That was actually one of my things to heal, and I helped them heal that. And so it's just, I just feel like it intertwines kind of with your message, and that's why I shared it.
No, I totally does completely. Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. Honestly, that's amazing.
Yeah, I
Wait,
don't think I've shared that with anybody.
well, thank you for sharing that because that's incredible. It's exactly like, yes, white supremacy has been the root of everything. And it does create a lot of blockages for people. They just don't want to see it.
Yeah, and like, a lot of people don't know it's there. And so like, that book, Decolonizing Therapy, was one thing that showed me, if you are a healer or a spiritual teacher, especially, because we have a lot of those, and
Oh, yeah.
it can be very helpful and beautiful, but you can actually do harm if you're not realizing that people that are coming to you for help are, and they've tried to
Exactly.
traditional therapy,
Yes.
and now they're coming to, spiritual or holistic therapy, or holistic healers and teachers. um, if you don't understand that the historical trauma that lives inside, especially, in BIPOC, and especially in on the land, even,
Mm.
you can bypass and try to hurry the healing when it's so embedded that a lot of times it has to come from the land itself, or like from our ancestors ourselves. Like, yeah, you can help guide us, but we got to get this message a lot of times from either somebody who looks like us, or it has to come from our own ancestors, for us to really realize, like, fuck, this is big, and like, I need help, but I can heal once I get that message through, people that I know are safe,
Yeah.
instead of somebody who's just trying to like, give me your money, and not like, just give me your money, because I understand, like, people make money through, spiritual healing.
Yeah. And everybody's got to make a living. Like, unfortunately, this is the system that we live in, and we're going to have to make money somehow to live.
Right. And that's not wrong. But I just like this message. I hope that it can be just more awareness to even like clients that you work with, or whoever's out there listening, to people that you're helping, people that are coming to you, or maybe you don't do any of that, but as a person in your own ancestral lineage, maybe having a conversation with your ancestors, journaling it, or if you're more into the spiritual aspects, a shamanic journey really connected with me to a lot of my ancestors, or to one main one, which actually brought about a lot of healing. So whatever route that is, I feel like that'll really I think that even if somebody's struggling with this message of like, I don't want, this, it makes me feel really shameful or bad, especially if you come from ancestors that may have done something to play a part in that. um, I feel like for them too, like, if their own ancestors showed up and brought and kind of like showed them the stories, and like gave them the message of like what could be healed, I think there are some that could take that message from them better than somebody's being like, oh, you need to heal, or, does that make
No,
sense?
it does make sense. It does. And it's really important. And again, this isn't obviously feeling ashamed is going to be part of it. Nobody wants to feel that way. But, the best part is that once you feel it and you allow it to have a voice, then, you can work through that, and so much more comes from that experience. It's such an eye opener. I don't even know how to explain it, because I've done that, some ancestral healing as well. And it really is hard. It's really hard to explain and to describe because, yeah, I actually don't know my ancestry completely. I was adopted, but I do know that I have had some ancestors that wanted me to decolonize, for our ancestral lineage because, we have to repair the harm that's been done, but also we have to repair the harm that's been done to us as well, and our whole lineage. All of that karma has got to get burned somehow. So if you're here, this is the work for you. I think anybody that is here in this space, like it's hard and it hurts, but you can do it. And this is what you're supposed to be doing. If you're here, let's do it. Let's actually work on it then.
Yes. Thank you so much, Athena. I feel like this is a message that can just continue to be talked on. You know what I mean? Like we can keep going.
I could.
But you shared you shared these points very, very, very well. Like
I get so nervous. So thank you.
You like to the point, but it was like, whoa. Like,
I know I'm a very straightforward human being. A lot of people don't like that, but that's how I am. So
yeah, you get some fireworks for that. I never. Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody that listened and watched and who will continue to watch. Again, I'm Mandy Valadez, and this is Athena. And you can share how people can find you.
Oh, yeah. I really only have Instagram and TikTok, and it is just authentically Athena PNW. And that's it.
Okay.
I'm not good at social media. I need to get better.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. And you also do somatic work.
Yes, I do. I do somatic work, and then I'm also a yoga teacher. But yeah, okay, I love it. It's amazing.
You do somatic work online?
Yes, I do actually. So I do it online, and a lot of what we did tonight is part of what we do in sessions. It's really amazing. Wow. It works really well. I love it. I love bottom-up therapy. Actually, that book that you were talking about, Decolonizing Therapy, I was studying to become a psychologist. And then I read that book, and then I was like, wow. I hate the system. I don't want to do that. So I just quit.
Wow. So
I'm not going to be part of this.
Yeah, that book is 100% recommended, and it will really just help anybody who wants to start their journey of like maybe pondering this message and maybe just like, okay, let me just
dip your toe in a
little. Yes,
alone. Water, just a little bit.
You can do it. You can do it alone in your room. You can read that book. Exactly. And you can just feel what you feel, and you can always come back to this video and do those somatic that
little sequence that we did. Yes, but we got your body involved, we got your nervous system involved. We created cues of safety through the pressure, through orienting, looking around your room. We took also the questions that I asked about if the sensation had a color, etc. That just helps you feel it, but not get too attached or overwhelmed by it. It's a really great. It's a really, really great sequence.
So if somebody is feeling up to it, they feel like this is something that they really want to have guidance in, would they be able to book a session with you through your Instagram?
Yeah, I need to get a better website. I have people direct message me because that to me shows me that you really want to be here. And I am also a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 kids, and we're in the process of moving. So I want to have clients that really, truly want to be there. So I do have you direct message me. We'll start a conversation. There's also an option for us to do like a free discovery call so we can just get to know each other. And then I do mentorships usually, or single sessions if you'd rather, but I also do mentorships. So
yeah, well, I love that. I love that you have this somatic work for specifically, it sounds like, to decolonize or to begin this process of like having questions of these questions that you asked at the beginning. Like the one that really struck me really deeply, the question was, what did your ancestors, like, what did they have to, I can't remember exactly, but how did they have to live in a world that was like ruled by like in a of whiteness?
Yes.
So for me, it was like shrinking. I feel like they probably had to shrink.
Yes.
Um, and through the somatic work, my throat, I began to feel like something was inside of my throat,
Yeah.
like a big, like a, like if I, when you're sick and you have mucus,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm not sick, I felt like I had like mucus in my throat.
Yeah.
And so it just made me feel like they couldn't speak up.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So I think your work is needed right now, especially. And I feel like if anybody's watching this, I think this would be a very good time to, and if they feel called and ready to actually have somebody to help guide them, it'd be much better than doing it alone, especially if you're at the beginning of this journey.
Yeah, it's hard and it's scary, honestly. Like every belief that you ever felt kind of comes crashing down. So having support is the best. And it's needed.
Yes. And so, and I feel like they'll get to know who you are just by watching this video. So, like anybody who's thinking about having a session with you, watch this video. You're going to get to know Athena. You're going to get to know what she stands for. You're going to get to feel like who she is, what she's all about, what she stands for, and the way she uses her voice to speak up. Like this episode alone, I feel shows who you are and who you like, what you stand for, and that shows that can give you an idea if you're somebody safe and if that's somebody they would like to guide them deeper into this journey, whether they're decolonizing from the standpoint of a white person or if they're wanting to decolonize through the mindsets of BIPOC. So I think this is beautiful. I think that you are a safe person. I actually feel like you are somebody that I would have a session with the
You.
in my process of decolonizing my mindsets, because I feel like it would be, I feel safe. So for me to say that, like
That means so much, honestly. Thank you. Thank you.
yes. So yeah. So thank you so much again, Athena. If you have anything you want to say before.
No, just again, I'm serious. Just thank you for letting me come on and for trusting me in your space. It means so much. I don't take it lightly.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. Thank you for being a voice. Thank you, because it's probably got to be hard for you. Or at the beginning, maybe it was a little scary, or maybe it is still scary. I don't know. But thank you for being a voice for us.
People are mean. They're really mean.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, it's all good though. The more that we do it, right?
Yeah, thank you for speaking, even though your voice may shake. Thank you for speaking up and supporting us on your side. Like, thank you for that.
Absolutely. I think this is like a moral obligation. You know what I mean? Like this is responsibility. We have to do it, and it's not just we have to. I mean, you should want to do it. I can't really imagine anybody being like, "Yeah, the system is great. It abuses people, but that's okay. It doesn't harm me."
That's privilege.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, how is that? How does that make sense to you, though? That's terrible.
It is. Thank you so much. It was amazing. I feel like it's a message that should be listened to, like not just once. I feel like like go back and listen to it a few more times and let the body process, sit with it.
It
And
was deep. It was deep. I like to rip the Band-Aid off sometimes.
yes,
In group sessions, I feel like I can do that. When I'm working one-on-one, we'll ease into things, I promise. But
yes,
tonight I was like, you know what? Let's rock the boat, man. Let's do this.
you brought it on. You sure did. And I hope a lot more people get to hear this message, because it was extremely needed. But it was respectful, and it was firm, and
Thank you.
it was, you know what I mean? So thank you so much again, Athena.
Thank you for that. It feels really good to hear that, just because I get told a lot that I'm not palatable enough. But
That you're what?
not palatable enough. They can't digest me, but that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing honor back to the land. Thank you for bringing a voice back to those that we probably may never, we'll never hear them because they're long gone. But may us as an ancestor speak up
Yeah.
and share what can be shared in the sense of bringing a voice to those that are long gone, but they're not really long gone because they live inside of us.
Yes, exactly. They're always there.
Yes. So thank you again and have a good night.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.